In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. Imagine that, a future that's super black. Long as your skin brown, your superpowers intact. What would your powers be? Just hope it ain't super whack. Spatial manipulation, create a portal that's black. Maybe just super speed, time travel to run it back. Or cheat manipulation to keep my spirit intact. As I encounter evils the world face, demons the world makes, I needed the world to stay. Rest in peace to Chadwick, they killed all the Black Panthers. Told us white lies, I still marvel at black answers. Suits in DC, pray it lead to a civil war. It ain't no Justice League, what's the need to be civil for? Propelled like the juggernaut, it's clear ain't no stopping this. The world in grave danger, who can stop the apocalypse? They killed all the heroes, the new ones don't really care. But if you need me, put your fist up in the air. Yeah, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black.
Hey everybody, let's switch that over. Hey everybody, it's Fury from Blurred's Eye View, your man on the wall. We are talking about Moon Knight. I got two guests with me tonight. We got Chris Plain, the man, the music god, CJ Plain from The Noise Report. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, what up? What up?
Hey, what's happening? Then we got our man, friend of the show, brother of the show, Mr. Deacon from the Mr. Deacon Experience. What's happening?
Ain't nothing to it, player. How you feeling?
All right, Mr. Smooth as usual. What's going on, fellas?
Nothing.
So man, let's get right into this thing, man. This thing is crazy. Disney Plus, Marvel, they're dropping all these gems. They gave us another mind-bending show to really be thinking about. Let's start with episode 3. CJ, let's start you off. You've been watching the show pretty closely, and it's I think 6 episodes. We got 2 more episodes left. What are your thoughts so far on 3 and 4?
Dude, I'm confused as hell by it. Like I started watching it last night just for this, and it's like all over the place for me. And I'm like, I don't know the backstory of this, like a lot of them. So it's, to me, it's kind of like, you know, having like Mark and the other dude and back and forth in the body and the whole, I don't know, man. It's just really discombobulating for me. Like, I like the imagery. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like it. It's just, I want to see the whole thing to kind of, I don't know, man. Like, I haven't got the whole concept of it. And Ethan Hawke is this kind of weird character, you know, like normal, I guess, for him. Because
he said like normal for him. Okay.
Like, Ethan always plays like really odd characters, like, you know.
That's what drew him into the role. He said when Oscar Isaac had got the role as for Mark Spector in Moon Knight, he said because they're neighbors, they're actually neighbors, and he said and they're good friends, and he said he went straight to him, and he's like, yeah, you got to check this out, and he was like, yes, get me in the door so we can work on this thing together, you know. So it wasn't too far off the mark.
Yeah. Like the third and fourth,
no pun intended.
Much more exciting than the first 2. Like the first 2, I was just like,
it's the setup.
Yeah, it was so slow. Like there was no action, and it was just dialogue, and it was like, God, like it's going to be a fight scene or something. You know, it's somebody like something going to blow up. Like, come on, Disney, make something happen other than just weird like dialogue of, you know,
craziness.
Yeah, like it just, I don't know, like it just, I don't know. I wasn't in the first.
Let's get Deacon's take on it. What do you think, Deacon?
Man, I think this is like Marvel's first attempt at a psychological thriller. You know what I'm saying? It's like I got to do with my man CJ. You know what I'm saying? Because you associate Marvel and Disney the whole thing with action. He's absolutely right. And we haven't seen, there's so much into the character development now that they're forgetting about,
what's going on,
you
Mark?
know, like Moon Knight. Moon Knight is like one of my most non-watch Marvel characters. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm like, oh, they did Moon Knight. You know, it's out of so many people they could have picked. Why did y'all pick this show? I get it. Disney's trying to change it up, show you a different point of view as far as, okay, we can do the action spectrum. Now we want to take it to something else. And I agree, like I said, with CJ. I'm like, is somebody going to kick some ass or what? But they're getting around to it. It is kind of dragging, but I am into it. I do like it. And, so it is what it is, though.
So, and I'll be doing the character breakdown on my TikTok and on the IG anyway. So look out for that. But basically, Mark Spector is a guy who is suffering from DID, dissociative identity disorder. So there are 3 people he's in his head. There's Mark Spector, who we know is the mercenary. There's Stephen Grant. And then there's Jake. I keep wanting to say Gyllenhaal so hard, but it's not Gyllenhaal. That's a totally different guy. But the third guy's Jake. So Mark Spector is the mercenary. Stephen Grant is actually the millionaire, like the Playboy millionaire, which we're not seeing. And Jake is like a taxi driver. So in the beginning, when this character was created, obviously back in the late 70s, early 80s, his character was kind of rebooted, rehashed a little bit. So when they finally came out and said, okay, he doesn't suffer from an identity, like he's not schizophrenic. It can be misread. It's a dissociative identity disorder. So this is why we're getting these flips or these glitches of different people. So moving forward, yes, the whole god of Khonshu, him dying at the temple, on death's door, and Khonshu saying, I need you to be my avatar of vengeance. This is how he comes to be. And what they're giving me so far, because it's only 6 episodes, like CJ said, it started off slow because we got a glimpse of Moon Knight at the very end. And then second episode, we got more of Steven's rough life he's been living. But 3 and 4, they hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And if you remember in episode 3, when Steven's got control of the body.
No doubt.
And he's trying to talk to the guys on the roof, and he was like, I was trying to talk to that guy and you just killed him. And so now I need to talk to you 3. But him and Steven are having a battle within themselves. So every time Mark's in a fight and he sees a reflection of himself, Steven wants to take over because he doesn't want Mark to kill anybody. Problem is, somebody keeps dying. And the funny part is, it wasn't Mark that did it, and it wasn't Steven that did it. And there's probably going to be, I'm sure there's going to be more on that later. But we get the introduction of not all of the other Egyptian gods, but we do get the introduction of other Egyptian gods when it comes to dealing with Khonshu and his stuff. And I think the scariest thing is, prior to all of this, when Steven is having basically soup with Arthur Harrow, which is Ethan Hawke's character. He's saying, I used to be his avatar. And everything he's saying, Khonshu actually says. He was like, what he's saying, kill me now, or this, that, and the other.
No doubt.
And then he even says, it's always another mission. He's never going to let you go. It's always another mission. And what happens later in that episode is, in order to, he says, I don't want to be the Moon Knight anymore, but the only reason why I'm becoming the Moon Knight is because if I don't, you'll make my wife your next avatar. And even Khonshu basically threatens him. If you stop, you know who my next pick is. And you know you love doing this. So he's right. It's like he's basically gaslighting him into staying there. So he's kind of like he has no choice. So getting introduced to these new Egyptian gods, and if you dig deep enough, One of them is Bast, and if you know anything, you know who Bast is. You know who
Oh,
I
yeah.
am. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like it's right over the right shoulder over here.
That's right.
Is Bast is the panther god for Wakanda, and so there is a relationship there as far as Bast being a sister to one of the gods, and they haven't touched it yet. But I'm glad they haven't touched it yet. But there are so many Easter eggs.
I think they have, bro. I think they have.
They gave us something. They gave us a little.
Yeah.
They gave us something. But
I'm gonna tell you when though. But I'm gonna go ahead.
They gave us something, and and it's crazy because Khonshu is like Khonshu isn't wrong, but he isn't right. And when they're talking, and when Arthur Harrow is talking about Amet, saying Amet digs the problem out at its source. Problem is that means people are dying way before they even decide to do something wrong. It's almost like Captain America and Winter Soldier when they're stopping that whole program from all those helicarriers that's targeting all these different people. One of them was Banner, one of them was Strange, and all these other people. And Cap is like, yeah, but you can't do that. These people haven't done anything. Exactly. So you're wiping them off the board before they even have an opportunity to prove themselves otherwise. And this is kind of
I kept thinking Minority Report when they're in that
same thing. Yep.
That's what I was gonna tell you, Tom Cruise. Yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm. So it's that same battle, like who's actually right and who's actually wrong. It's a weird balance. You know, and Arthur Harrow, by him already being the precursor, saying, hey, I've been here before. And, you know, you want to stop the evil. But he's taken, it's amazing how they get these villains in the MCU. And you almost can't argue with them. Their methods might be a little extreme, but their ending result really isn't wrong. Like Infinity War. It's a perfect example. Infinity War and Endgame. Thanos was going around wiping out half of civilizations because he says, I've seen what happened on my planet. I'm losing people. There's not enough resources. He wipes out half the people. Him gaining the Infinity Stones was him taking a more humane route because technically he didn't kill them. He just trapped their souls in a stone. He didn't really wipe them out, but to the general public, these people are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And his end result was, well, you got it. You know, the waters were running clear, the jungles were growing back, and people were growing crops. Problem is, half the world is missing. Half the universe is missing. So, was he right? Was he wrong? You know, Ultron was the only one that says, like, look, just wipe out all of humanity and start the freak over. And let me run it. He was probably the most wrong out of all of them. He was like, all you guys do is war. You're the disease, not everything else. So seeing Mark wrestle with this, seeing Mark and Steven wrestle with this is what's crazy. And like I said, we got to see we get good shots of Khonshu in episode 3. We really do. We get some really good shots of him. But I think what really gets, like this scene here in episode 3, when him and Layla decide to go to find the sarcophagus, basically that has the star map on it, and probably one of the best fight scenes we've gotten so far. Probably one of the best. You know, the whole appearance of Moon Knight basically tearing ass and everything all over the place. What do you guys think starting from this point going on?
Ooh, CJ, let me get it, though. If you ain't got no,
go ahead.
I want to, this is it. I know, like I said, we talked about Bass. This is the thing too, and they're talking about them coming from the overvoid, right? Now, when we talk about Bass, now let's take it back to the whole vibranium thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're aliens. They are aliens. who decided to come to Earth, just like the Eternals. You know, they're aliens. So what I'm thinking is, like we said before, there is a connection between Bass and Ahmed and the rest of them.
Mhm.
So Khonshu probably screwed up, just like the rest of them, but they let him hang around. Bass probably took it to another level, and they found a way to trap Bass inside that vibranium. So now the vibranium come to the planet. He probably got, might have got there first, last, whatever. They trap Bass. So Bass is there now, thus Wakanda, the herb, and everything else. So when you open up that scene and you see those trapped idols and all them gods, and they did say there for TD, other gods, them those guys right there, Bass is in there.
Yes,
and they all got different. They got different powers, so he's in there or she's in there. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the thing that they're leading to now. Is like, how many more guys, like you said, how many more guys are going to come out of this episode? And there's the connection. I was telling my friend today, I said, they kind of connect. He's like, what you talking about? Yeah. And you see the connection now. If you have a Marvel background, and most people ain't gonna know. They think it's something new, some new character they developed. No. You know what I'm saying? It's all a connection. Marvel, with the MCU, they connect and everything. So I see the connection, with these 2 episodes, and I'm looking forward to what's going on, man. But there, like I said, people keep in mind, man, it's a connection, yo. I love it. I love it.
Definitely. Yeah. CJ, what you got?
I liked the action, like once it started and all that. It was filmed really well. I mean, I love the photography of this more than anything. It's I'm a big fanatic. One of my favorite thing about these kind of movies is the cinematography and the photography and how you put it together and make it happen. All the pieces that go together. Anything when you film such as this one, where the shot of the 3 pyramids in a row or like that, you're talking filmmaking on a really epic scale, even more so, even without the CGI, but just the aerial photography, the drone photography. Like the one shot that really struck me is when they showed the three pyramids in the triangular thing, and it was kind of just looking down over it. It's like in Lord of the Rings when they do those big, wide, sweeping. It's so amazing to see that, to think like, there's such beauty and such wonder when you see that, because it gives you the picture on a grander scale of just how big stuff is and how small we are in comparison of it. Like you stand or you see a picture of the pyramids, you don't get the full scale until you're looking at it like that and you realize these things are massive, like fleas compared to them.
Like in episode 4 when Steven is just now we've seen how he is when he used to work at the museum and everything, but when they finally end up inside one of the Tower of Giza, he's just like he's
a kid in the candy store.
He's a fanboy. He's lost it. He's just like, I literally forgot the mission I was on because I never thought I would be standing here.
Right. And I'm interested of how they're going to tie in this Alexander the Great thing, because I don't think that was thrown in just randomly. No. Like,
said he was a voice of. He said he was the voice of Met. He
was a voice of a Met, and there's also another slight connection to someone who was introduced to us in Loki.
Well, I haven't seen that, so
I'm gonna tell it, Deke.
Go ahead. I ain't gonna stop.
Alexander the Great has a connection to Kang the Conqueror.
Okay,
and Kang takes some of his I guess his impressions are put onto Alexander the Great. They have some connect. This is what I'm loving about what they're doing over at the MCU department, world, whatever you want to call it, because they aren't just throwing stuff in there just to throw it in there.
Right.
Even if it's a slight mention, it's there for a reason, because there's definitely some form of payoff we as the film goers and the television watchers may not get the payoff right away. Feige has a payoff. There is no way he made it this far and not have one.
No doubt.
But there's the tie to Kang. Also, someone else who we just seen in another trailer earlier this week, Alexander the Great has a tie to Zeus. He is the son of Zeus. He's half mortal. So he's a demigod, so to speak.
Demigod.
So there's the tie. Those are the ties. Yes, I'm that fanboy. So
yeah, no doubt. Hey, I'm with you. Now, hey, check it out, though.
I'm the man on the wall. I'm the man on the wall. This is how I know this stuff.
You mentioned something earlier when you was talking about the cab driving the millionaire. One of them is maybe in that sarcophagus in that box when he come out that room.
Yep.
Because like you said, they couldn't quite explain. Yeah.
I believe that one had I think that was Horus that was on that for that sarcophagus. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the running theory right now is that's Jake.
Mm-hmm.
That's Jake. And I'm like, the scenes, episode 4, its last 10-15 minutes were the biggest what the hell moments.
Yeah. Where did he go? Where did he go? You know what I'm saying? When after he got shot, Harold shot him, and then you wondering now. I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of residual effect, like when they figure it out how to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever void they in.
Yeah, and like here's like this is Layla. This is Layla as one of the patients, and yes, that's a scarab that's on her band-aid. It's something about a scarab in her connection with the scarab.
Yeah.
But if you look, there are key people who are shown in this scene. And people were saying, oh, it's got to be all in his head. It's got to be all in his head. But watch it again, because there is one person that Mark has never crossed, or at least Steven has never crossed. Layla's mother is in one of the scenes. She's the one that drew this little picture on the left.
I know it's that
of a bird, and yeah, he's never crossed her that we've seen on the screen. We haven't seen them. There is no interaction with those two that we know of right now. But everybody else he's came across. The orderly who originally got in his face was the guy he just seen die by the hand of one of the Heka priests. One of these guys who are magical in their own work, right? But that was the guy that he had just seen die by one of their hands. So that was him. Why did they show him? We don't know, but it was very important that we seen that face. And then the other orderly who was going around giving out, I believe that was cupcakes. That was one of the underlings when they went to go see Layla's. I'm supposing it's her ex-boyfriend where they got the star map from. He was one of the guys that actually knew Layla. They used to work together. That's who that was. And then there was a black female. She was the FBI agent. And there was another guy who was her partner. So every last one of the person who was calling out the bingo numbers is the guy who was posing as a gold statue at the very first 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so like every last one of the prominent people they showed in this final part of the scene, in this final act, was someone that Mark / Steven have crossed paths with.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like really looking at everything. And when I say that those moments really stood out, and then here it is, Arthur Harrow is the psych doctor, and everything in the room had something to do in something that we seen earlier. The picture that Mark was looking at was where he woke up, or at least where Steven woke up at the very, was it episode 1? Was that 1? I believe it was 1.
Mm.
And so that was there. You have the god, one of the Egyptian god idols. I can't remember the name of that one. Hold on, I got it on me. But I got it on me. But it was so many going on, and it's like yo, they figured this out. It was it no? Oh, Khanum. That's what it was. It was the Egyptian god Khanum. That's who it was. And when I knew I had it on me. So just seeing all these little different pieces come together, and you're just like, this might be a dream, but this isn't the dream we're thinking it is. It's like Mark may not even be. Obviously, he's not dead. You got 2 more episodes.
No,
not killing him off.
his brain is fragmented right now. His brain is fragmented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he got to get.
He's probably. Yeah, he's got to get it together in order to bring himself out of it. And when I say seeing Oscar Isaac perform is a thing of beauty. He's in this scene did crack me up though. This scene, because watch their screens.
Now what's up with the hippo?
Totally
What's up with the hippo, man?
She is the goddess of she's the goddess of fertility and protection of children.
All right.
And mind you, now they really haven't touched on Mark's DID affliction yet, but by comic standards, he's always had this issue as a child. And so what we would see as, oh, that's his imaginary friend he's talking to, wasn't really his imaginary friend. He dealt with some trauma. He had a traumatic childhood, and the reason why he was still alive is due to that goddess, because she's the protector of children. So he's had some kind of connection all of his life. This wasn't just by chance. So I'm wondering if they're going to go that route for the
obviously,
you know. But when because I wasn't expecting it to happen, I really wasn't expecting that to happen. And when I say like, damn, that was out of the blue. Like, what the fuck, Marvel? Y'all did it again.
They got to, you know. So many phases, man.
Yeah. So what do you think about episode 4 going into the Indiana Jones-esque world and then ending on such a crazy ass final act?
Man, I don't know. I really can't. I'm trying to put together all the Marvel knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Moon Knight is one of my lesser, you know what I'm saying? I'm not as on Moon Knight like if you was talking about the X-Men or Bishop or something like that.
Yeah.
But wow. You know, the reviews, what did Rotten Green Tomato, what did they say about this?
You know, I gotta find out what Rotten Tomatoes said, as long as it's not ran by too many people, but they've been cleaning themselves up lately. I think it's certified. I'm pretty sure it's certified fresh. It's not anything negative. If anything, everybody is on agreement that Oscar Isaac's performance is downright amazing,
without question. But you know, it's. I'm just looking forward. I don't want to get into. Wow. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, especially in these last 2 episodes. You know, I really, it's hard to really touch on this because, you know, it can go, you know, you take something from the comics, you're good. And then you change it up. And like I said before, I still think Stan Lee rolling over in his grave, and I'm not going to keep, you know, beating a dead horse, but I really don't know what to say yet, man, about this, man. Because, you know, loving the multiverse is coming out. Doctor Strange is coming out. Loving Thunder's coming out with Thor. We don't know how they gonna touch into this. It's just crazy, man. But I'm loving the ride. I'm enjoying the ride, and that's all I just want to see more. You know, give me more. You know, we're over COVID now. Let's put this shit out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so the Rotten Tomatoes run is their average tomato meter is 87, and the audience average score is 94. So it's doing very well.
You broke up. I didn't hear what you said.
No, I said Rotten Tomatoes average score is 87%, and the average audience score is 94.
Okay,
so it's doing very well.
No doubt,
it's doing very well by everybody's standards. So, this has become the craziest one of the. I don't know, it's because especially after WandaVision, and then getting so much what the fuck moments. But like you said, CJ, when you have shots like this from episode 3, you know, these beautiful freaking shots. Like I didn't even expect to see something like this. And to make it go back and say, wow. Yeah, definitely. I will say the MCU has a way of, especially with their streaming shows, they have the way they're playing with the color scheme of everything. I mean, even when you go back to Loki, like the color palettes they were using for those shows, for the set pieces, this was one of the colors they were showing on one of the Loki episodes. It was this bluish purple, gorgeous freaking color. But then you get scenes like this. You get the scenes like this, pure straight white, some grays, like really bland colors, which is literally taken out of one of the pages of Moon Knight, which was in 2016, issue 1, where he wakes up in a psych hospital. So a lot of this was taken from that episode, or a lot of this episode was taken from those pages. So they're doing their work, they're doing their due diligence. But I cannot get over any of it. Really, I just can't. I like it because this right here, the scream, he gave you 2 different screams if you watch it again. And if you listen, you're like, okay, Steven is the one in the gray. Mark was the one running around with the hospital scrubs on. And I'm like, dude, Oscar Isaac is becoming like the Carl Urban of the of almost the MCU period, or just geek culture period. You know, because he was in Dune, he was Apocalypse in the god awful Dark Phoenix. He's in
the god awful,
and it's not his fault. We're not putting that on him. We're not putting that on him because other than the rest of the movie, he actually looked good.
He acted. I mean, sometimes you can only do what the script is on there, bro. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So he did what he was supposed to do.
He handled his part. Let's just put it. Yeah. He pulled his weight. You know. No. But just being in these roles, and he's becoming the man. Like Carl Urban is the man. So I think he's starting to match it with Carl Urban, because Carl Urban has been in a ton of stuff that belongs to geeks.
Yeah, The Boys is coming. The Boys is coming. You know,
can't wait. CJ, what are your final thoughts for Moon Knight episode 4?
Let me say first, I don't like Carl Urban, so he ain't getting no love from me.
If you listen to the show, please go back and watch it on YouTube and watch Mr. Deacon's face as CJ said that, like his eyes almost fell out his head.
Urban is the man. Come on, are you serious?
He's our Judge Dredd that we still want.
All right, and that right there is why I don't like Carl Urban.
Wow,
Dredd was a perfect name for that, because that movie was a dreadful ripoff of The Raid. And
okay. I'm not gonna disagree with.
I realize I can't put that fully on Carl for that, but I just, ever since that movie,
he played a much better Dredd than Stallone did. He actually played.
I will give him that, and he was pretty decent in. What was it? It wasn't Pitch Black. It was
it was Pitch Black.
Yeah, Pitch Black. He was in Pitch Black. He was in Xena. He was in Xena. He was in Hercules.
Yeah, I know one of the.
Don't forget Star Trek,
but I didn't
think Star Trek. Yeah. So he's been in a lot of geek-related
Bones, man. Bones is iconic in Star Trek. Come on, man.
I
don't. You know what? Real quick, not to cut you off. How do they do the British accent and switch back to English so fucking
I'm
quick?
Still trying to figure that out.
I can't do that, man. I'm like, damn. But I'm sorry, CJ. Go ahead.
No, Bones. What's his name? Hugh Laurie. He is the master at that. Like, if you hear his real voice, it is so Cockney, you know, and then he does that American voice, and you're like, how in the hell does he like do that so clearly? Because he has a hardcore British accent, man. It's not British, it's Cockney British, you know.
When you see when House was popping, And I'm like, I actually seen something he was in that was older. I'm like, wait, he talks like that? I didn't know.
Yeah, because like old boy that plays Lucifer, he does the American thing good, but you can notice in certain spots that British will still come through in when he speaks.
Andrew Leakin from Walking Dead is like that.
Yeah.
When I actually seen that.
I
didn't know Tom Holland was. I was like, what? You know, they pull
Tom
it.
Holland,
They pull it off.
Tom Holland,
Hardy.
Andrew Garfield, Tom Hardy. Which is funny because Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland and
I love Hardy, man. Hardy,
he's
a great actor.
They're like best friends prior to Spider-Man. They were best friends before. I think they were flatmates at one point. So like, it's
my biggest issue with this, I think, probably stems from I haven't seen Wakanda or WandaVision. I haven't seen Loki. And there's a few of the Marvel movies I haven't seen. So there are gaps of things that I haven't seen. So I don't get the Easter eggs or I don't get the little pieces.
Well, see, here's the plus side. The Easter eggs that they've shown us, other than Bass, the other Easter eggs they've shown us really haven't presented themselves like from Wanda or Loki or Falcon. It's standalone, really. Other than Stephen working, or prior to him being fired, working at the museum in London, which is the same museum that's in the Eternals. That's really the only connection they have right now. And there's a scene where he summons the suit, and it's actually white, 3-piece white suit, which is sharp ass suit.
He's like, damn, I look good, you know.
Sharp ass suit. But when he gets hit and he rolls over and hits that double-decker bus, on that bus it says GRC. Now that is the unit that is meant for the people who were blipped out of existence from Infinity War and Endgame. So this was the what's it called? Something relocation, something.
Global relocation, something like that, right?
Yeah, global relocation center or something like that. That's what that is. So we know the time frame where this is taking place now. This is post blip. This is after Endgame. So we know that much, but we don't know where it falls other than that, because right now it's a complete standalone amongst everything else, unless in these last two episodes.
Besides those two things that we pointed out, like we said, Eternals and Black Panther. You know, I really don't see any other connections just yet.
Right.
Now you did say Kang the Conqueror, which I was thinking about, you know. So were they spinning it to Loki? Because they're probably working on Loki too. Will they spin it off? They make everything connect in some type of way.
Right.
Let's see.
But yeah, it's a safe bet. Like they're being smart about it. You know, what's it been like 12 years?
It seems like it's been longer. It seems like
it really does. I almost said 20 the other day, and I'm like, no, it couldn't.
Of the MCU. Of the MCU.
Of the MCU. But of the MCU has been about, I know it's over a decade, because by the time I think Infinity War dropped, that was 10 years. So we're looking at like 12, 13 years now.
Yeah, and these actors ain't getting no younger, player.
No, they are not. And I trust what they're doing right now. Like, even when it looks like they're not, you just like, I'm not sure where they're going with it. It's more or less at this point in Feige we trust, because he has not disappointed. He's like, look, we gotta, when he says they have a plan in place, trust the plan. Just trust in the process, because he's got something. Like, he's not planning for right now. He's planning for now. He's planning for next summer. He's planning for next fall, next winter, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. So everything we're getting, he's just like, when they have their D23, which is kind of like when they have the big convention, and they say all the stuff that's coming up for Disney, whether it's streaming or theatrical. When he makes those announcements, it's a wrap, because it's like, this is what we're ending with. and it gets talked about for the next 3 days for that weekend, because it's like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So like they come in Wednesday. It's like a normal convention, only it's for the investors. And when they make those calls, when he makes those calls, I've seen interviews where people who work like in animation or in the art department, when he makes a meeting, everybody's in the meeting. If Deacon is directing Blade, he's going to be in the meeting. If I'm directing the next Eternals film or a Ghost Rider show or a new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show or something like that, I'm in the meeting. Because what he wants is a full connective universe, as we've been asking for God knows how long. And it works. That works. Only for the simple fact, you don't want your other director, producer, writer, whoever, you don't want them to step on the toes of another project where they might need that character for something. If they're this is why when it comes to Spider-Man, he said we have plans for him. We don't have plans for the Spider-Man second tier characters. We don't have plans for Venom. We don't have plans for Morbius. Which is why they're not well.
Well, they just dropped it. Have you seen the Morbius?
I had to stay away from that one. I was getting way too much burn. I was getting way too much burn from people. Like nothing was good coming. And I'm like, I'm like, I don't know if I can spend the money for this one. I'm
gonna check out Leto, Jared. I'm gonna check it out. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna check it out.
And like Leto, you're not a bad actor. I don't know what's happening right now, but you're not a bad actor. It's just, are you being fed? You need to talk to your agent and like, okay, you need to put me over here, not in this little circle here. Because right now, what Sony is doing, they're filming Kraven. They're filming Kraven right now.
Who's Kraven?
Oh, for those who don't know. So Kraven he touts himself as the world's greatest hunter. He is a Spider-Man.
No. Who's acting as Kraven?
Oh, what is the guy that played Kick-Ass?
Oh, really?
The first Quicksilver.
He just got oh my god! I love how Marvel recycles actors, man. Come on, you got with Chris Evans. Chris then played
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. Then he turns around. When they did that blew. I was like, why did they do that? And then they didn't got now, with Michael B. Jordan. I'm like, well, damn, they're just getting all the Marvel roles, man.
It's just like but see, here's the thing. You gonna
bring Kraven with Spider-Man?
Kraven is see, this is the thing. Kraven is under Sony. Marvel and Disney have a deal with Sony to use Spider-Man. That's it. Yeah. That's why all three of those
you won't see that films, too much. Exactly.
Right. That's why all three of those Spider-Man films have been 90 plus and more massive opening film. And now this No Way Home is over $1 billion. That's why, because Feige said the only way I will help is if we get producing credits. We get producing credits and we can use the character. That's how Spider-Man was able to, AKA, come home. And being and being Civil War and being Infinity War and being Endgame. That's called a chess piece. That's called the chess move. Because he used to work for Sony.
Yeah, you can't give up the ghost all the time. You gotta hold some cards,
So and this is why so Sony was just like, okay, well, we'll let him use that because we got Kraven and we got Black Cat and we got Silver Sable, and I'm like, yo, nobody asked for those.
So
nobody asked for those. I'm like you just barely skated by with Venom. So you got lucky. You really hit the mark on the head when you made Into the Spider-Verse, which now the second one has been pushed back almost to next year, which for whatever reason, but this only because of the internet, we get access to when stuff gets pushed back. So people think it's like, oh, it's failing. No, that's not the case. This happens with all movies. So that's got pushed back. So right now their shining star or stars is Spider-Man or Spider-Men.
Mm-hmm.
That's who's pulling eight. That's who's pulling their weight right now. Sony's weight puller right now is Spider-Man. Just like Warner Brothers pulling weight puller was Batman and Superman.
And I'm just over here watching the No Country for the Lobo movie.
See, that's the thing. There was talks about that several years ago, several years back, and it's like, but once again, Warner Brothers has absolutely no clue what they were doing.
They guidance. I wonder how this Black Adam is going to be when this Black Adam comes out.
Everything got pushed back. Everything got pushed back. Discovery stepped in and said, "We're buying Warner Brothers." So now it's known as Warner Brothers Discovery. They've gone on record and said, "We don't like how the Superman character has been treated recently. We want," and this is out of their mouth, "we want a Kevin Feige type person to run the DCEU."
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's been listening and they've been paying attention because and they said the only bright spots they've been having, the Batman, Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. They said, in Joker, they said movies like that work. They said Man of Steel was fine.
I didn't.
Because it was too far. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was definitely out of the vein of what we were expecting. It was because I mean, if you took away the whole Joker aspect, it was basically this guy just had a bad fucking week. A mental patient that had a bad life. Week. He had a bad fucking life. You know, not a horrible movie by any chance. And I'm glad they said that they said, okay, this has nothing to do with the main DCEU. This is more like a other worlds story. Okay, whatever. I don't need to see a second one neither. You know, I'm like it was so good. We're gonna give it two. I'm like, so you're making a villain movie, and you're gonna make a sequel. That's of a homicidal maniac. Okay, all right, that's
no doubt.
That's what we.
I don't know. He's how you say his name, Joaquin or Joaquin?
Joaquin.
Yeah, Joaquin.
Yeah, Joaquin.
You know, he's an actor to me that I don't know. Like some of his stuff is really good, and then there's some of his stuff that's just it's really hard to like. I didn't like him. He was in Gladiator, right? If I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah, I didn't like him in Gladiator. Like he just, to me, he was the worst part of Gladiator. And
he's a little punk bitch. That's what he was.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, you bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Because what was the movie? He was Her, when he was in love with Scarlett Johansson's app on the phone, because she was like Siri. Don't you come on? All right. You know how you have Siri for the iPhone? Well, to make sure my phone doesn't go. But in the movie, Scarlett Johansson plays the voice of a Siri-esque phone thing, whatever, and he's like falling in love with her because it actually answers him and talks to him, and I'm like, this is such a weird film.
I didn't see that one. I heard about it. I didn't see that one.
It's once again not a bad film, but the premise is so weird because you like the way it's being played off, but it's just like, but it's weird because it's like, oh, it's about a guy who falls in love with his phone. It sounds crazy. But when you're watching it, you're like, okay, I see what's going on here. You know, this guy has some issues and whatever. But yeah, DC or Warner Brothers Discovery have finally just said, look, we need to wipe the slate clean. They actually fired the people who were over the DCU films, like the heads. They got rid of them. Mm-hmm. They were like, you're out. You're definitely out. Like they're like, because they look back and they said, you know what? And I think what really was the nail in the coffin was the response from Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League. And despite the fact that it was a 4-hour long opera, it still performed much better than the version Joss Whedon gave us.
Or it made more sense.
It definitely made more sense. So, you know, they're just looking at like, you know what? Why you guys didn't give us this? And I've even gone on record and said this. I said, why couldn't they give us this film and give it as a two-parter? If you were so worried about, oh, it's too long, you could have gave us a two-parter in 1 year. You could have gave us a 2-part film in 1 year. You could have said, drop this in, what was it, June or July? Let's drop this in the summer. By the time it's done in its run, wait like a month, maybe 2, drop the other half. You would have cleaned house.
Unfortunately, they didn't do that. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Bad decision making. We would have had Ray Fisher as Cyborg, because that was something else they was, you know, Warner Brothers was like, we need a black superhero on screen. We need a black superhero. Well, you had Ray Fisher, but because of what he was dealing with on the set from Joss Whedon and how toxic that background was going on and how everything went, and he started blowing the whistle on the heads and everything, because he took it to the top. He was like, yo, you need to do something about this. This is a toxic working environment. Y'all not doing anything. They're mistreating the cast. They're doing this. They're doing that. They didn't listen to him because, you know, he was a new guy, just a new guy. Well, not new to acting, because I'm sure he did some other stuff, but he was new to us. And I'm like, it can't be him. He has no skin in the game. This is one of his first major roles. He has no skin in this game. And look what we get. Look what he get. He gets fired. But and it was like, and we're taking him off the Flash film because he was supposed to be in the Flash film. It was supposed to be him and Ezra Miller's Barry, and that now he's a problem.
I was gonna say, and now where do they go with that? Because you know, he just got arrested a second time for
like, dude, yeah, he got arrested. How do you get arrested twice in the same month doing the same fucking thing? 3 times. Yeah, it was 3 times. Doing the same thing. You ain't even been to court yet for the first one.
Yep. They gonna try his ass for all 3 charges at the same time. They do that. They do shit like that.
They do it. I'm like, dude, you go to Hawaii and you cut the fuck up.
Yeah. And the studio says we're standing behind him. But how do you stand behind a man with the whole Johnny Depp thing going on and the environment that everything is in? How do you stand behind this dude at this point? Look, I realize you've already made the Flash movie, but you really need to rethink. I know there's no easy solution. Oh, we can't just go back and remake the movie. And who do we find?
Drop the movie, change the ending, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, we know Grant Gustin can't do it. We understand, but figure something out. Bring in another Barry. Hell, bring in Wally. I don't give a damn what you do, because you can't go for, because see, this isn't going to be their only headache.
Yeah,
their other headache is going to be when Aquaman 2 drops, who Amber Heard is still has her role. That movie's done being filmed, and she still has her role as Mera. And this was gotten a lot of people upset. It was like, look, you have the receipts of what happened between her and Johnny Depp, and yet you fired him.
That's horrific.
Bro. He lost. You fired him, and people's so-called friends have left his side. People that was endorsing him have dropped him, except for Dior. And here it is. He's in court. And right now he's winning.
I got the Savage, man. I rock the Savage, man.
Yeah, it smells great, man. And he's got the recordings. He's got he just got everything, and it's just like, and when you got the ex-wife on record on not video, on audio, saying, you watch. When you try to tell everybody, they won't believe you. Dude, you're gaslighting this dude.
Right now is he is on that stand, and he is not getting rattled by anything they throw at him.
No, they try.
They want to rattle him. They want him to lash out. They want him to say something out of turn. And Johnny's just
ain't working. It ain't working.
Where Johnny's
just not
working.
It was funny because there was a point where they were reading what she said. There was a moment where I think it was it might have been Steven Tyler from Aerosmith and one of the somebody from the Rolling Stones and some other rock buddies. They were all down. They were there. It was one night where they were all hanging out, playing music, just having a good time. And she was, I guess, upstairs or somewhere else in the house, and because she just was mad because he was having a good time. And as they were saying that to him or to the jury, you could look on his face, and he had a smile on his face. And the only thing I could think of was I recognized that smile. That was the smile of a guy like, this is the best night of my damn life. Yep. I was like, that, like if you've had that ex or whoever, and you remember a day where you wasn't bothered with them, but you had a good time. That was that night for Johnny Depp. He was just like, and he had a smirk like, yeah, I remember that night. He didn't say anything, but he had a smirk like, yeah, I remember that night. That was, I can't wait till we do that again. You know, it was that kind of night. So, but when you see that type of stuff, because you know, this is going to be a headache for them. The Ezra Miller thing is one thing they got to figure out.
Yeah,
there's hope that whatever her role is in Aquaman 2 is just as short as it was in the first one.
You might be able to edit it out or limit.
Yeah, they might be able to limit it just enough. Like, can we work around this?
Yeah,
and not have to deal with her anymore after this.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, even if they just at this point come out and said, "Look, this is done. We can't fix it, but going forward,
she just no longer is.
Yeah, we're done.
No longer with the firm."
And people say, "Okay, we get it." You know, because I think people realistically realize, look, if you spend $200 million on a film, you can't just go back and
chop it up.
Whole part. Okay,
it's only so much. It's only so much you can do. It's only so much you can do.
You know, so we get it. But moving forward, if you continue to cast this person in these roles and essentially justify their behavior, then that's where I have a problem.
Yeah,
going forward. Like I know it's mean to say, but personally, I hope the only role she ever has in the future is serving fries somewhere. I mean,
wow. I'm trying to get into this whole what happened with why is Johnny Depp in court. I haven't really looked into that.
Amber Heard is she's a beast. Toxic. She made at this point, Amber is making Jada look like a choir girl. Okay, she
she ain't got nobody smacking nobody. We good.
Dude,
you know what I'm saying?
She threw a bottle and cut his fingertip off. She shit in their bed and then blamed it on the dogs. She had just, dude.
She's physically put her hands on this dude and actually said it on her phone recording.
Slammed the door.
She didn't know. She didn't.
Yeah. Well, what's wrong with you? They can't get rid of these toxic ass females. I don't understand. Like, bitch, get out of here. They just so in love, and the coochie ain't that good though. Get rid of them.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, they were only together a few years. That was the weird thing, and she was having an affair the whole freaking time. Like she started having affairs almost.
Yeah, it was like two other well-known actors. Well-known male actors.
And dude is gonna tell what's his name? Paul Bettany.
No, Paul Bettany, Vision.
Yeah.
Oh Lord,
he's going to testify for Johnny that all this stuff he's seen it, and his wife's seen it, and because I guess his wife is like a makeup artist or something on the movies, and she's seen all this behavior, and I mean, there's a whole litany. And then Amber, her best friend, is this reporter type, person, and she got thrown out of court yesterday because she's sitting on she ain't even a lawyer, but she's sitting at the table acting as a lawyer. She's tweeting and texting live from the thing, telling everyone what's going on. And they thought it was a big joke. So the judge got pissed off and barred her from the court. I mean, it's just, Amber, dude, is just.
She's a
horrible human being, bro.
She's a beast, man. It's bad.
And they're like, she doesn't even give a shit. Like, she just.
Like, I mean, they're it's funny when they're playing the recordings.
Yeah.
And she's, you can tell they're on the phone arguing. Well, he's not really arguing.
Yeah.
He's just letting her pointing herself in the corner.
Potato
And
chip.
she was saying, she was like, he's like, you punched me. She was like, I didn't punch you. I did hit you, but I didn't. Then as she's going on, she was like, so I punched you a little bit. You're admitting that you put your hands on this dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even know it. You are so far out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there eating potato chips during this thing. Like, she doesn't even give a shit. She just,
wow.
She's toxic, like massively toxic, massively toxic.
Like I said, she's making Jada look like a choir girl right now.
They went to the same. They went to the same damn school, grade
Something,
school,
just horrible. Like,
well, before we get out of here,
Johnny ain't no angel. Johnny ain't no angel.
No, he's not. He's had his day.
He's
had his time.
Yeah, like you can only deal with so much toxicity before it just overflows into,
your livelihood, period.
Right.
Like, I feel bad, really truthfully, for Will. I don't condone what Will did, but I hope Will truthfully hits a point and realizes I need to just get away from this, because this is going to sink you. And I pray that it doesn't.
At least that half of it is going to sink you.
Yeah, like I pray it never.
The fact that they're villainizing him, and I'm like, you talking about the guy who, for 30 years, pretty much, has had this squeaky clean image, and you're villainizing him for one moment of weakness, and that's not even.
It doesn't turn into
not even the worst. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that's my worst fear, really, with Will, is that it weighs so heavy that Will does something along that line, and that would be just so devastating, because I don't think Jada would give a shit if Will did that. That's why, to me, like, when I see Bruce Willis, that's why I like Bruce so much, because all the shit that Bruce has done, even though him and Demi are divorced, they're still almost like best friends. And Bruce's new wife and Demi's and her kids and Bruce, they all live together in the same damn house, and they're friends. And it's like, look, it can be done.
It's mellowed out.
Let me say something real quick before we go. Let me say something. I don't want to be. Let's do it like this. Culturally, African Americans, we don't roll like that. You know what I'm saying? We can't. It's difficult now. Somewhere down the line, we're gonna have to get it together. My ex come in here, bitch. You cannot get out. You can sleep in the doghouse. I'm just straight up playing. I don't get down like that,
you
dog.
Shall not pass.
You shall not pass. So we just, it's just marriages and the cultures are different. We don't get down like that. Majority of us don't.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, but I only know certain people that can do that. Like, I don't know too many African Americans that are that cool with their wife. Like, yeah, come on. Will was telling the first wife, when they seen Jada on TV, and that's how she found out they was kicking it, he takes her on vacations and leaves Jada ass at the crib. I'm like, what? Let your old lady go for some shit. Come on, Chris. Now you know your wife.
It ain't happening. I wouldn't be doing this show right now.
I don't get it. But it is what it is. They got money, they got power, they got influence. You know what I'm saying? Give Jada $200 million, walk away. That's what I would do.
And to be honest with you, they're saying, I can't remember what director is saying. He's like, I'll still work with him. I don't care. But the projects that they say, we're not going to do the projects. Yeah, Michael Bay said he'll still work. Yeah, but the projects that they're like they're either postponing or holding off on are projects like, okay, and like they were like, they like just today they said, Netflix isn't going to do Bright 2. I'm like, we've been waiting for years for that. And the way y'all looking right now, it wouldn't matter. So. And then I Am Legend 2. Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for I Am Legend 2. We don't care. So
I want to know how the fuck they're gonna do that one anyways, because he died after
He died.
Well, they got an alternate version. They had an alternate version if you haven't seen it, where he kind of.
Whatever I'm saying, but
the other ending when he actually made it out.
Yeah. You're gonna go with the alternate ending and act like the first movie didn't happen, then, essentially, because if you go with the alternate ending, then you're just saying
you're having a Warner Brothers moment all over again. So, well, before we get out of here, this is part where we find out where everybody can find everybody. We're gonna start with you, CJ. Where can they find you at?
RiotOnTheSetMedia.rocks is where all my podcasts are. If you look up YouTube now, I have a music reaction channel that is like doing huge numbers. So you can look up Music God Reacts. Almost 100,000 views in 30 days. So I'm blown away by that. So that's the way to find me. So
all right, Mr. Deacon, where can they find you at?
Mostly you can find me on most social media network platforms. The main thing is YouTube, and shout out to TMD, everybody. We got a little deal with Fanatics, and we shot a little commercial for Fanatics and whatnot.
I checked it out. Really nice.
No doubt. We're moving on, doing different stuff. Watch out for the ASFL Football League, American Spring Football League. We'll be doing coverage on that. I'm a blur when it comes to sports. That's my thing, plus Marvel's my heart. So, yeah, just check us out on the TMD on YouTube and watch the latest shows, man.
All right. Guess where everybody can find my ass? You can go to IG, go to Instagram, go to Blurred's Eye View, all one word, lowercase. You can also catch me as well, Chris.Fury1 on IG. So there's 2 IG pages. You can also catch me on Chris Fury1 on TikTok, where apparently people are now calling me the new Keith David, because I did a thing the other day, and they said I sound like Goliath. I was like, okay, I'll take it.
I heard you, Mr. Villain, take on the villainous roles and smite him. Shit like that.
So, yeah, hey, it's going down. You can also just go check us out. Facebook on Blurred's Eye View Podcast. We are also on Opulence Radio. You could give us a shout out over there as well. Check out all the shows on there. We're on there with What the Shit. We're on there the same days, Mondays and Thursdays. You can probably listen to us in the next 15 minutes, as a matter of fact. So go over to opulenceradio.com and check out Blurred's Eye View, and check out all the other great shows that we're on. That's on there as well, including What the Shit. And man, I want to thank our guests, man, Mr. Deacon and CJ coming on. And like I say with every show, I want to thank, when you tune into this show, you can listen to us everywhere you find us on IG. You can find us on iHeartRadio as well. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody who's watching. I want to thank everybody who's just been a part of the show. And we couldn't do it without you guys. But until next time, where we talk with other blurs and other nerds about topics that only we can, remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. And until next Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, we're out of here.